You are sitting in a movie theater. The scene is not even that sad, but your throat tightens. Your eyes sting. You are blinking fast, desperately hoping the person next to you does not notice. They are just eating popcorn, like nothing happened. And you are sitting there wondering, what's wrong with me? You've spent your whole life being told you're too much, too sensitive, too emotional, too intense. You learn to apologize for the way you feel. You learn to shrink it, hide it, swallow it down. Somewhere along the way, you started believing the people who told you it was a flaw. But here's what nobody explained to you. You were never broken. Your brain is just running on different hardware. Let's decode it. Society handed you a story early on. The story said, feeling things deeply is weakness. It said the strong people are the calm ones, the unbothered ones, the ones who let things roll off. It said you need to toughen up, grow thicker skin, stop taking everything so personally. You heard it from parents, teachers, partners, coworkers. And because you couldn't see inside anyone else's head, you assumed they were right. You assumed everyone felt things the same intensity you did, and you were just the one who couldn't handle it. That assumption is the lie. You don't feel too much. You feel deeply. You're just feeling on a higher resolution than the people around you. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Imagine two cameras. One is a basic phone camera from 10 years ago. The other is a high-resolution professional sensor. Point them both at the same sunset. The old camera captures a blurry orange smudge. The high-resolution sensor captures 400 shades of color, the gradient in the clouds, the light bending at the edges. It's not seeing a different sunset, it's seeing more of the same one. That is your nervous system. You are a high-resolution sensor in a world built for low-resolution cameras. Where other people get a rough sketch of an emotion, you get the full painting. That is not a malfunction, that is depth of capture. Maybe this explains why crowded rooms exhaust you. Why you replay conversations long after everyone else forgot them. Why you have spent years trying to become less affected by things that still affect you anyway. That is where the science gets interesting. Let's start with the actual trait this describes. It has a name. It's called sensory processing sensitivity. Researchers estimate it shows up in around 15 to 20% of people. It's not a disorder. Researchers have observed similar sensitivity traits across many species. People who have it are called highly sensitive people. And their brains genuinely process information more deeply. Some brain imaging studies have found patterns consistent with deeper processing and stronger responses to emotional stimuli. When a highly sensitive person looks at an emotional image, areas tied to awareness and empathy light up more strongly. You walk into a party, and before you have said a single word, you have already read the room. You can feel that two people are fighting, that someone is putting on a brave face, that the energy is off in a way nobody has named yet. You notice the slight pause before someone answers, the way a smile doesn't quite reach the eyes. You pick up a text from a friend that says, "I'm fine," and you know immediately and completely that they are not. You finish a phone call that would have seemed perfectly pleasant to anyone listening, and you need 20 minutes alone just to process everything that passed beneath the surface of it. You leave a dinner party exhausted in a way that has nothing to do with being tired. You carry other people's moods home with you like luggage you didn't pack. You feel the weight of a room's history, its old arguments and its quiet tensions, before anyone has given you a single fact. This is not imagination. This is not overthinking. This is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. Your brain isn't just registering the world, it's analyzing it, layering it, connecting it to everything else you've ever felt. This ties to the core pillar of high sensitivity, depth of processing. Your brain doesn't take information at face value. Your brain spends more time evaluating information before moving on. A comment isn't just a comment. Your brain runs it through context, tone, history, and meaning before it files it away. That's why things stick to you. That's why you notice the micro shift in someone's voice. You're not overthinking, you're deep processing. There's a third piece, and it lives in a tiny structure in your brain, the amygdala. It's your emotional alarm system, the part that scans for what matters and what might be a threat. In a deeply feeling brain, areas like the insular cortex, which governs internal awareness, and emotional processing networks respond more strongly to meaningful stimuli. So when you walk into a room and instantly feel the tension nobody mentioned, that's not you being paranoid. That's your alarm system catching a signal everyone else missed. And here's the part that matters most. There's a mirror to this depth. Researchers describe this idea through a framework called vantage sensitivity. It means the same brain that feels pain more sharply also feels beauty, joy, and connection more sharply. You don't just feel the lows harder, you feel the highs harder too. The sensitivity goes both directions. The music that gives you chills, the sunset that stops you in your tracks, the rush of love that feels like it might overflow. That richness is the same trait that makes a sad scene flatten you. You can't have one without the other. The depth is a package deal. So the goal was never to feel less. The goal is to learn how to carry this much feeling without it carrying you. Let me give you 3 tools. The first one is called the resolution reset. When the feeling spikes and you can sense yourself starting to flood, you pause and you name one thing through each of 3 senses. One thing you can see, one thing you can hear, one thing you can physically feel. This works because it pulls your brain out of the emotional center and back into the sensory present. It gives your activated amygdala a job that isn't panic. Research suggests the initial chemical surge of an emotion can begin to fade in about 90 seconds if you stop feeding it with loops of anxious thought. The resolution reset buys you those 90 seconds. The second tool is called the source check. Deeply feeling people have highly active mirror neurons, meaning you easily mirror the emotions of people around you. You walk away from a stressed friend carrying their stress in your own chest. So when a heavy feeling hits, you ask one question: is this mine, or did I pick it up? Name whose feeling it actually is. This activates your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, which calms the emotional reactivity underneath it. Literally say it in your mind: this is not my panic. I'm just mirroring their stress. That one sentence creates distance between you and the feeling. You're not blocking your empathy, you're just labeling it, so you stop drowning in feelings you were never meant to hold. There is a specific kind of relief that comes in that moment. The moment you realize the heaviness sitting in your chest is not yours. It is your colleague's deadline anxiety. It is your mother's unresolved worry. It is the leftover charge from a difficult conversation someone else had. And the instant you name it accurately, something shifts. It doesn't disappear entirely, but it stops feeling like a verdict about you. You can feel it without becoming it. You can hold space for someone else's pain without carrying it as your own confession. This is not coldness. This is not detachment. This is the difference between being moved and being swept away. A deeply feeling person who has learned the source check doesn't feel less. They feel clearly. And that clarity is what lets them stay present for the people they love without losing themselves in the process. The third tool is called the recovery window. A high-resolution sensor uses more processing power, which means it needs more downtime to reset. This isn't laziness, it's the cost of running deeper hardware. So after anything intense, a hard conversation, a loud event, a long social day, you schedule a recovery window. 20 minutes of low input. No screens, no noise, no people. This lets your overstimulated nervous system return to baseline before the next wave hits. When you protect the recovery window, you stop hitting burnout you never saw coming. You stop confusing exhaustion for failure. Now look back at that movie theater. The person next to you with the popcorn isn't stronger than you. They're just running the old camera. They caught the blurry orange smudge. You caught the 400 shades. You were never too much. You were always seeing more. The tears, the chills, the tension you sense, the love that overflows. That's not a glitch in your wiring. That's the whole reason your wiring is worth having. You are a high-resolution sensor in a low-resolution world. Stop apologizing for the depth of the picture you can see. The people who told you to feel less were just describing a world they couldn't access. You don't need thicker skin. You need to understand what your skin was always for. You feel everything because you were built to notice more, and that has never been your weakness. It is just proof that your lens was always meant to capture the full picture. The world does not need more people who feel nothing. It needs more people who feel everything and have learned where to point the lens. For a long time, you treated the resolution of your camera like a problem to solve. It was never a problem. It was always the specification. Most people go through life catching the blurry orange smudge. You were built for the 400 shades. That is not a burden. That is the whole point of being you. If this finally gave a name to something you've felt your whole life, there's a piece of this we need to go deeper on. Because feeling everyone else's emotions as if they were your own is its own specific experience. Go watch the next video on why you mirror other people's feelings and what to do about it. Your brain has more to tell you. Let's keep decoding it.